Welcome to Let the Bible Speak, where that's what we want to do. We want to let the Bible speak. There are a lot of different voices in this world.
This is the NPR version of Let the Bible Speak.
Hello. Yes, that's what I think of that.
We're going to just eat some crackers and sip on our
Very
beverage
tame.
for a
Very
while.
tame.
And I think of
Very tame.
the little tree, little mountain. You know, what's his name?
You think about little trees often? You're talking about Bob Ross.
Bob
I knew what
Ross.
you were talking about.
Of course. You're like,
just
where
appreciated the
can I
setup.
bring this joke? So if you have not
All
listened
trees
to
are
us,
little to your tall self.
all trees are little to your tall self.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Well, let's start
Take
over.
a second.
Let's start over so that joke
Yeah,
doesn't...
everybody, y'all just pause it right there.
Yeah, we're going to start over.
and we're going to start over.
Speaking of happy accidents.
Yes,
That was-
welcome.
You know what? I'm going home.
That's it?
That's it. I'm done.
That's all we're doing. So if you've never listened to us before, our podcast is called Let the Bible Speak. And the reason is because we want to let the Bible speak out of our lives and also out of our lips. But this isn't a Bible study per se.
I don't know why I love it. I love that one so much.
It isn't a Bible study
is
per
not.
se.
It is not.
But instead, it is more often that we talk a lot, and then hopefully you'll hear the Bible at some point come out of our lives. So I am Josh Elder, and alongside of me is
Okay.
Mr. John Chetta,
Yeah.
and we have a special guest today with us.
Mm-hmm.
Zach, what's your last name?
Turner.
Zach Turner.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey.
So
Hey, Zach.
Hey,
we
Zach.
actually just met Zach
Zach.
out in the parking
yeah,
lot.
we
and,
saw him. He looked
yeah.
looked like he'd be a great guest
Yeah.
for us.
I didn't even ask if I knew Jesus.
No, I just was like, "Would you mind coming on?"
That's
Yeah.
it. Do you
So-
know? Can I tell you? Can I
Go
interrupt?
ahead. Yeah,
I mean, you know.
yeah, right.
I guess.
So I got a criticism. You know how you and your legs, you know, with your shorts.
Oh, my shorts. Yeah.
So one guy was like,
oh, you too cool for school? No, who was it?
No, you didn't. So I never see the comments ever. But I was
I stopped reading
checking.
them.
I was checking for. It was when I was like, you know, working on the marketing stuff, and I was paying more attention to certain aspects of the podcast than I usually do, and so I saw a comment. And it was when it was the clip. It was for the short, not to be willing to be embarrassed for Jesus.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, it was actually pretty funny, but he was like, when you say embarrassed, are you talking about the guy with bedhead or the guy with sunglasses on when he's inside? And I was like, it was too funny for me to be mad, you know? And so I was like, we'll be sure to be camera
Listen,
ready for you
right.
next time.
Did you respond?
I did.
Oh, good.
I did.
Oh, good.
But not on behalf. I think I responded personally, which
No,
is probably
you
a mistake.
respond on the behalf of us.
But the reason why I bring that up is because I just looked. I was like,
You're like, oh, now I
like,
see.
man,
Now
he
you're
got to
adjusting
me.
everything
He
because
got
this
to me.
guy,
I know,
his
he got to
comment
me.
online. You know, this is
I
why
wear my
people-
sunglasses on my head all the time, pretty much. Not when
But
I
were
preach.
they on your eyes?
No, they were on top of my head.
they're
Which, so
never
I
on
think
it.
he was
Yeah.
reaching, but you know.
Yeah.
And look, you know,
You know, he took a shot.
probably
he got
surrounded
a
by
good
30
laugh.
cats
He got a
and-
laugh.
He did.
what's that?
And he got a laugh.
It's
out of it.
probably Bill. Like you know, it's
Probably.
probably Bill. He just changed his handle, and now I'm here.
Bill's listening,
I'm
going,
here
"No,
accusing
it wasn't
him."
me. It wasn't me. Yeah, I think if you're gonna comment about us, please make it as insulting as possible.
Yeah.
And you know, we've had some doozies.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you got that one, which is very original.
I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. The last time I read it, I had one that was like, those guys look super gay, and which was an uncomfortable
Yeah.
slur.
And so you decided we should sit across from each other so we could gaze into each other's eyes as we
deeply,
deeply, you know.
deeply. So don't read comments because
Yeah, don't-
the comments don't end
Look,
up.
Joe Rogan says it all the time.
He does.
Don't read comments.
He does.
I would also edit your allowing people to insult. I would say people can insult as long as it's funny.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
long as it's funny. As
Yeah.
long as
As long
you,
as
as
it's
long as you
funny,
try, you know, you just don't like
Well, I
phone
mean,
it
we-
in.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It's not like this.
like if you
that a
say if you're
gentle-
like Josh is fat, I mean, that's okay. It's not. There's no originality to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if you say John Short, we've already said that 150,000 times.
Yeah.
You
And
know
it
what I
still
mean?
hurts.
Yeah, it does
It
every
does.
time.
Because I just can't do anything about it. I try, and I'm lifting myself high if
Yeah.
you're listening. I'm
Yeah, if you're
trying.
listening, they
I'm
can't
lifting
hear.
myself up, which is the opposite of the gospel.
Well, we are here at the Reminding,
Yes.
and we had our coffee, and I had this last time on our podcast, and I never said anything about it, which made me feel real bad because. So I'm a big, as you can tell, I'm a person who likes himself some cake. And so this is the king cake that they serve here at the Reminding. And I will tell you, like, I eat a lot of king cake when king cake season subs. In fact, I'm so addicted to king cake, I have to limit myself to a number of cakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the
I
way that you're
adjust it.
setting this up, this number changed.
It definitely changed. This year, this year I'm past 3 already. So this will be the 4th.
I promise you, I remember there was a time where it was 1, where you
Was
had
it?
1 to yourself or
Yeah,
something
that was
like
probably
that.
a good year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the year when you're really trying.
That's you
Yeah.
dug in that year.
Dug in. And so they have a really delicious king cake here in case you ever want to get a king cake. It really is good.
Weighs a metric.
Have you had
ton.
any of the king cake before?
Yes, actually.
So good.
My sister and brother-in-law, who I currently live with, they.
Rob,
my
Rob's
first-
gonna be
Rob-
Rob's gonna be on the podcast. He's
Why?
coming on.
kidding.
Him and
I love that.
But he actually is very generous. This is my first Mardi Gras season in Louisiana, and so they're getting me like around 20 king cakes over the course of the season
Wow.
to try and rank.
Good. That's
So,
good.
I've had 3 or 4 already.
Okay, tell me what you've had. I'd like to know.
Okay. I can't tell you where they're from because I don't remember.
Okay.
That's
So-
going to make this difficult.
Yeah.
The worst one.
Very
let's start with
insulting
that
to
one,
Louisiana
was,
people.
I hope that our friend Holly is not listening because I think she brought this to
Holly-
church on Sunday.
She made it
But
specially
she didn't
for you.
make it. She bought it.
all
Okay.
right. Yeah. Then
If
it's
Holly
fair.
made it, it probably would have been good. But it was a Bananas Foster king cake,
No.
and it just was not.
People get too
a little
It's not
fancy.
people get carried away with these
They
king
do.
cakes.
Yeah.
I had somebody. It must have been just recently. Oh, I think it was Kim. Maybe it was Kim Bigler when she was here. I feel like we had a conversation with her when somebody said something about. It might not have been Kim. I'm sorry if it wasn't you, Kim. But they talked about a brisket king cake. Is that?
Oh,
Okay. Okay.
For real?
Brisket king
Bro,
cake.
your memory is.
because he got me good there. I was like, so I remember.
Oh, okay. I see.
Right.
For me, it's got to be dessert. Like it's got to be dessert.
Yeah.
And so once
Yeah.
you start throwing brisket into it, I'm like,
Well,
that's
there's a famous
see how we ask a question.
boudin.
You say 5 words, and
Yeah.
we just pivot
Take
back.
it.
To
I
what
have
we wanna talk to.
ADHD, so it's.
He's
it's
all
okay.
aboard.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
You're in good company.
You're in
We have
good
jackets.
company.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have a boudin king cake too, and people
That's out of my scope.
people rave about it.
Alright.
I've never actually tried it because I'm a very purist kind of guy.
Okay, yeah.
So what they've
Yeah,
been
yeah, back
feeding
to
you
yours.
filled
Yes, yes.
king cakes?
Yes.
Is it all filled?
One of the 2 of them have been filled.
See, this is might
3
be
of them
where
have
you're
been
going
filled.
wrong.
Sorry.
So
one of them
one
has
sh-
not been.
I'm sorry, they're giving you a terrible experience. Okay, filled is not the proper way to
Yeah.
test king cake.
I feel like it's very Danish
yeah,
y.
yeah.
And so if there's like a little bit of filling, I kind of like that. Like they got one that had some kind of cream cheese filling that was pretty good, but there wasn't like a ton of cream cheese filling.
Yeah, I do
was
like
nice.
that when I don't have to, when I can
But-
just spoon it out.
Yes,
That's
but something that I noticed is that the integrity and structure of the cake itself is much better if there's not filling in it.
Yeah,
It tends to get kind of flat and mushy.
When it
steak.
doesn't have filling.
When it does have filling, it gets kind of flat and mushy. It's better if it doesn't have filling.
Agreed.
So
You've already
yeah.
learned the first lesson of king cakes, which the proper answer is a pure king cake
Yeah, yeah.
is
Yeah.
one that has no filling.
just cinnamon.
Yeah. So people out there who eat filled king cakes, you're less than me.
Right.
And
Just so
Just so
you
you
know.
know.
Here's the litmus test.
the real litmus
Okay.
test is, and that's a pure. So where was the plane from?
That's a great question.
You don't know.
I don't know.
See,
You
this
don't
is
know.
this is the problem because when people talk king cakes, it's where they come from.
Yeah.
You know, like you got to be Randazzo's.
Right.
Randazzo's does have a good king
Or
cake.
yeah, well, there's many Rendazzos. Nona Rendazzos, Freddie Rendazzos.
Is this-
no,
Okay. And they all have their own brand. You
Yeah.
really got me for
no,
a
there
second.
is there is multiple Rendazzos. Nona.
I mean, I know that there are many people with the last name Randazzo.
No, but they're Rendazzos king
Oh,
cakes.
like bakeries.
yeah,
Oh,
Rendazzos
okay.
bakeries.
I didn't know that.
Well, because I think there was a split in the family.
Well, let's bring that up.
You know what I mean?
That'll be next episode.
yeah,
We'll-
we've already put our foot in our mouths a couple times.
yeah.
Might as well
I hear it
add
was
to it.
real contentious.
right. Everybody's like, that was the episode.
yeah. Whoops.
So,
So, do you know? Since you
ahead.
asked, my favorite,
yeah, let's hear it.
my favorite, and this is, I think a lot of people will agree with me on this one. Mackenzie's.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That you would bring this up.
I don't mean to leave you out on this one,
Okay.
but I
Who
will.
is Mackenzie?
I will fill you in.
Mackenzie, it doesn't exist
It
anymore.
doesn't exist anymore. It was an amazing bakery. They just everything was good. Everything was good. But their king cakes were amazing. And specifically, which is strange that this is my go-to, my absolute favorite, which is probably colored by nostalgia, is the just the powdered sugar one.
I call this the gross king cake. That's what I call it. Like my brother sent me a picture of this king cake and he thought I would be like, oh, this is great. You know? And I was like, no, that is gross.
Yeah, it needs
That-
another layer of sugar on it.
Yeah, I'm like, why? Let's just get some granulated sugar and
It's-
throw it on
but-
some sort of bread.
So this is it, but it wasn't. It was like magical. I don't know. It wasn't
magical.
just sugar. It was
all
something about their
nostalgia.
sugar, and it was good. It didn't have any icing. It was just this kind of not even it wasn't even like braided or any. It was just like a big, I don't know, like a regular king cake, but it didn't have, it was just kind of a solid big, like a donut. You know what I mean? Like a shape.
yeah.
A lot of them, I'm digging myself into a hole,
No, it
but
was-
everybody knows what I'm talking about who's experienced the Mackenzies.
If
But
you-
you don't like that
Like
one?
if you like tasteless things,
This might be true.
you're
I was
really
raised British.
You're really gonna love. That's true. You were. You're really gonna love
I
the
really just think they
Mackenzie's
should
king
boil
cake.
it, and then
now,
it would be
people do
perfect.
make it. Mandeville Bakery makes Mackenzie's king cakes.
Okay.
And so
I'm sorry?
if you want to try it, Mandeville Bakery, I believe makes.
this true?
Yeah, I think they bought the. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I always heard like Donut Shop or Donut King.
Maybe
Donut
they do.
King.
Somebody does.
Somebody did something
Somebody has.
somewhere.
Somebody does, and if you want to try it, and
Okay.
I'll mock you when you like it.
Okay.
It's so
then,
good. I don't know what you're talking
No,
about.
because it's like I baked a bread. Here, throw granulated sugar on it. This is a king cake, and I'm like, you're like, this is the best, the best.
Like I
This is
said,
bread.
it's probably somewhat colored
And
by nostalgia.
You're not just talking about like a large beignet.
No, it's no.
It's not even.
It's not.
It's not even as good because a large beignet. At least the sugar is powdered. So
This is
it's
somewhere in between granulated and powdered. It's like I don't know. Kind of like I
If
don't know.
you
It's not
like
as
if you
coarse
like
as just
Mackenzie's
proper
king
sugar.
cakes, you can write me. Just put it in the comments
yeah
on this video mockingly, since we already started there about
wait.
Mackenzie's.
And
So-
if you know Mackenzie, please.
Yeah, well, I
bring
don't know.
bring them back.
So I'm pretty sure that a friend of ours' father is actually who shut down Mackenzie's
Oh.
And your
because
friend-
he
you're
was
still
a,
friends with this
he was a health
Oh.
inspector.
Is that what it was?
I think it was. And so,
You heard it here first, folks.
I think this is all
are we
hearsay.
putting- is this
Hearsay.
fake news?
So we don't want anybody
Does
coming
that just
after
mean you
us.
heard it, so you're saying it? Is that
I
what?
think that he said that.
Yeah.
Now you never know what's true when you're a kid. So, but it was when we were young.
But there were multiple locations.
Yeah, I think this shut definitely the Mandeville one down. So, and maybe
Maybe they were resting on their laurels, and
yeah.
they're like, people are going to shop here
We
whether
tried
they're
to
roaches
sell.
and holes or
We
not.
tried to sell these tasteless
This
cakes,
is
but nobody
chocolate sprinkle.
seems to want it. Now, here's what I will say: I will give them one credit to that cake. That cake looks nice.
Yeah.
It looks nice.
Well, presentation is 70% of a sale, Josh, which is why it's important to
But
not have
not
my
part of it.
sunglasses on. It's important that, you tease it up, to tease it to
bedhead.
Jesus.
Bedhead.
Mm.
No,
That's what
you're
the
good
guy-
today. You're good today. And
Look,
in all fairness,
I did have bedhead.
in that particular one, I was like,
Yeah. I
fair on
probably
both
just had a
parts.
little nappity nap.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I mean?
What it is
You
we are
you call
not.
it the European look.
That's it.
I don't know.
And
Oh,
here we
yeah.
lose all our European listeners.
Yeah. We're always losing all our listeners.
I know.
But, so did you try this one though?
I have not tried this one yet.
Really?
Really.
And
know.
so what we didn't
Gerardo
actually
hasn't
we
offered
didn't
me one.
This is
actually
a
find
fantastic
so-
cake.
we did not
Okay.
find him in the parking lot. He works here.
Yeah, he works here.
Yeah.
Nobody knows that yet. Dude,
Yeah, I
it
know,
literally
I
took
know.
us 20 minutes
I know.
to get to the fact that you
But
were
they know
here.
what's going to happen because now that they're meeting you, it means you're going to get promoted and you're going to be off somewhere.
Yeah.
So Zach has started recording us. He's one of our sound Engineers.
Yeah.
and we have had our sound engineers on. There's only one who's, I
But
feel
he's
like
still, yeah.
you still got a better job after
I was
you
about
got
to say,
into,
notice he's not behind here
Yeah, he
very
did.
often.
Yeah, he did. So so Gerard,
We're really a
I was
stepping
going to ask
stone.
if you'd had Gerardo on.
we
yet.
have.
We have.
We have,
Um,
and it was after that that he was asked to be,
That was
an important, GM, exactly. No, so like every single time we've had, so especially, so we've had
let's not offend people.
Nathan,
Yeah,
yes.
If you
one.
remember everybody's names, I will be offended.
Nate the
Because he
Great
forgets my name.
Oh.
was one, and then Hunter, okay,
Job.
and then Yaleen, and then Yaleen, and then you. You're
Wow.
our fourth,
Zach.
Zach. I knew
That is
Zach.
my
I've
name.
said Zach's name multiple
I know,
times.
but I've seen you forget a name that fast.
No. It is this literally this morning I was like, I took a pause before I said Cameron's name and it was like, enter name here,
Yeah,
Cameron. And he's like,
Yeah.
really? This
Yeah.
seems
it
slighted."
happens. It happens.
So
I was telling somebody that the most terrifying thing for me to do is introduce myself to someone at church.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah, 'cause
Every single time I'm like, because you'd be like, hey, welcome. I'm John. I'm the pastor here. They're like, I've been here 6 months. You're like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, yeah.
Of course you are. Yeah, see
you
all
did
the
something
time.
different.
Yeah.
Your face. I don't know,
You
like,
did my father's funeral.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know, like it's tough. You take a shot, and sometimes, look, I came here and there was two people eating together, and I go, "I'm sorry about your sister," and she's like, "I'm an only child."
And you're like,
Who-
that's what I'm sorry about. I'm sorry that your sister
you don't
that
have
you
a
never
sister.
had your sister.
I wish you really had. And so, and then the person, of course, the person I did know was like, so who did you think that she was? I was like, don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't make it worse.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because then you don't know. Anyway, so Zach's on with us.
I am.
Zach, we've had just some amazing guests
Mhm.
as sound engineers alone
Yeah.
on this podcast. So you have a lot to live up to,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, as far as
Yeah.
the pressure goes. And
All right.
so tell me this. We ask everybody, how did you end up as the sound engineer of the greatest
Yeah, I was gonna say.
podcast?
At what point in time did you realize the sunlight of the Lord was shining
Shining
on
on
you?
you.
I was wandering around in the parking lot.
Yeah. And this guy came up to me. He said, "Do you want to be on a podcast?" And then he said, I'm going to make you
We're
our sound
recording in this
engineer."
van.
Yeah, exactly.
He seemed really pressed about it, so
Yeah.
I was like, sure.
Yeah. So how did you get here? Because you moved here.
Mhm.
Where'd you move here from?
I moved here from Tallahassee, Florida.
Okay.
So-
Okay. You're a Florida man.
I am a Florida man.
Yeah.
I transient Florida man. So
Okay.
grew up half in Kentucky and
Okay.
half in Florida.
Where in Kentucky?
Elizabethtown. It's like right in the middle of the state.
Okay. How far from Wilmore is it?
Wilmore? I don't know.
Lexington. How far
Lexington,
from Lexington?
it's about an hour and a half to 2 hours, I think, from
Okay.
Lexington.
Okay. We've been to Kentucky one time.
One time?
Yeah, one time for the did you ever hear about the Asbury revival?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
so we
did.
went to that.
Whoa, that's crazy.
We heard
And then thousands of people came when they found out we were going.
exactly.
Oh,
It was
okay.
like
It was
once
that
they were
was
like,
you guys.
"Wait, let the Bible
That was
speak."
you
Yeah.
guys?
Is going literally. So we had some of the students from Asbury on the show. This was years ago. This is before we were recording in here,
Yeah.
and before we ever had our first sound engineer on. Really,
That's when you had the best.
the best sound
The
engineer, which is John.
Oh, it
Yeah.
was awful.
He would literally like figure out that you could put a clap on a
yeah, I
button.
was like, hey, this
he was like,
button.
"Look, this button,
Crickets.
It does clapping." And I
You
was
got
like,
those buttons, don't you?
"Yeah,
He
he has
does.
those buttons."
One day I would like to figure them out. But
Yeah, no. And so we went up there when we heard that it was. We heard it was going on. I don't know. You were like, it was just somebody. Was it Jeff who told us? Hey, looks like something's happening.
So did I? Well, if I was the one who clued you in on it,
no,
then-
that's
then
definitely not how it happened.
okay. So
Yeah.
because Jeff was the one,
I
who
was
told
going to go
me.
without you, and then you said, "Hey, could we go to? Have you heard about Asbury?" And I was like, "Gosh darn it, he's mentioned it."
See, this is
And I
not
was
how
already
this is
planning on
not how
going.
You know, it's crazy because I remember the seat in the sanctuary I was sitting in when I was on the phone with you discussing this,
Yeah.
but I don't remember that part of the conversation.
Well, I do remember the first part.
But I do know that Jeff was the one who clued me in on it. Like I got to work that day, and he was like, "Did you hear about
Well,
this?"
you don't remember me saying, "Yes, I was thinking about going." You don't remember that?
Mm. And then
You don't
I
remember
was
this
like,
conversation?
I don't
Please,
remember
Josh,
it.
can you should remember it.
Zach, we don't
No.
appreciate it.
I don't appreciate
Zach,
that.
I don't. I already told you I have ADHD.
Honestly, I
not-
don't remember. I mean, I don't remember how we came about it, but I do remember that we forgot to invite Henderson.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I remember that.
I remember that.
So
Is that why he's not
That's
here?
exactly.
probably it.
It's
That was probably the
it.
first
He probably never told
death
us.
by 1,000 paper cuts. I think. Not
yeah.
that he's he's still well.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
So you were in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
This was a long way for us to tell you a story about ourselves.
Yeah.
That's how we
So
do.
that's how
I'm a facilitator.
exactly the facilitator of our nonsense. So you would go between Kentucky and Florida. So why did that happen? How did that happen?
So my dad was a worship pastor in Elizabethtown, Kentucky.
Okay.
He worked with a guy, Dr. Ronnie Rains. I call him Uncle Ronnie because I've known him for a very long time. And Ronnie moved on from our church in Elizabethtown. And
Kidnapped you?
Yes.
Took you
How
to
did you
Florida?
know?
Took you to Florida? Into the story.
But then he did like a few different things. He was in, I think, the Cincinnati area for a little bit, and then he landed in Tallahassee, Florida, at a church called Bradfordville First Baptist Church in Tallahassee. And he called my dad up and was like, "Hey, would you consider being our worship pastor?" And my dad was like, "No."
Wow.
But then he was like, "Well, you just pray about it." And Dad was like, "I guess." And so that eventually turned into more than just praying about it. And then we moved down there so that my dad could be the worship pastor there. And Mom and Dad were there for, I think, 8 or 9 years. And then I was there for around 10, I think.
Okay. So they moved off.
They moved back to Elizabethtown.
Same church now, or would they
Different church.
different church?
Different church now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you grew up with a worship.
Yes.
Man, I've always so growing up with a
Mm-hmm.
pastor dad is tough for some children.
Yeah.
Others I've heard, not for my children, of course.
Of
Right.
course not.
Of course.
Of course. But when I think about like growing up with Chad, my our worship leader, or
You're like, well, at least it's not that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a different like that's kind of artists. They're
Yeah.
artists
Yeah.
in some sense, right? A little
Yeah.
bit. Is that
In some sense, yeah.
yeah? Wouldn't you say that was accurate?
Are you
Yeah.
are you musically inclined?
Sometimes, yes.
You sing? Do you play?
I sing. I took piano for.
The last
a
guest
number
we
of
had that
years,
could
but-
sing. We asked them to sing us out. So if
No,
you,
that's probably not going to be what I'm going to do. But
that was
maybe
good for
that'll be
them.
the thing that keeps
Listen,
me from moving on.
That's
But that's
exactly.
probably
See,
not.
you missed your
that's probably not.
opportunity.
Yeah.
You missed your opportunity. So, like,
But-
what was it? So, growing up,
Mm.
your dad was always
Not always. So, but for the majority of my childhood,
Wow.
he was.
What was
a
that like
worship
for you? I'd like to
pastor.
hear. I'd like to hear your experience on that.
It really wasn't something that I thought about a ton until I got older, like an older teenager, and I was so charming and beloved that it wasn't a problem. No, I remember actually the first time that it really affected me was he used me as, I don't know if he was preaching or just telling a story. but
Now, did he
told a
preach? He
story.
preached and
He preached some.
okay. So you got both worlds.
I got both worlds a little bit, but telling a
So you're pretty
story
messed up.
about me. I was so messed up. So many bad things.
Yeah.
But I can remember there was
It's
one
okay. It's
time
just us.
that-
It's
You can-
just
you can-
nobody.
yeah.
Yeah. Just let it
This
out.
is going to be a very healing story.
Good. I'm very
because
glad.
I got mad at Dad when he shared it from the pulpit, but I had done something. I don't even remember what it was. It was not anything like life altering, but had disobeyed my parents in some way. And so I was told to go sit in my room for a few minutes, and I was not happy about that. So I went to the door and held up a sign that said, "I'm being abused." And my mom and dad were like, "You can do that, but I want you to know that if someone sees that, you probably won't get to live here anymore."
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
never mind. I'll go to my room."
Yeah.
But
What was the story? Was it
That was-
bad?
That's the
that was
story.
it.
No, I mean, what he shared. That was
That's-
what he
That
shared.
was what he shared.
Oh, but because you got in trouble and
Yeah,
sent to your
and
room?
I was a very easily embarrassed child, and so I
Well,
got
that
embarrassed.
is the tough part
Yes.
of I guess growing up with pulpit parents, because
Yes.
you end up in a sermon from time. It happens. I mean,
Yes.
it happens.
And I will say that
often.
my dad is very thoughtful and gracious, and from that point on, he would ask me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
for-
the
yeah.
that's
That's
the
what
trick.
we. That's what
Yeah.
That's what we usually do. Is we'll say, "Hey, listen, I want to use you in this sermon. Are you okay with that?"
yeah.
No. Well, tough.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
When I
I'm
was
your father.
asking, I was warning.
asking, but it was
was
all a
preparing
joke.
your
It's more
heart.
just a courtesy to let you know
Exactly.
Yeah.
if you don't want to be in the room when I'm talking about it.
One of my favorite, and I know I've told this story on the podcast probably many times, but it's still hilarious. Over at St. Timothy, Josh was getting ready to preach, and I was still attending there, and I'm in the bathroom, and one of his sons comes in. For the life of me, I can't remember which one. But I just can't. But he goes, I'm washing my hands. He goes, "You know what my dad's preaching about today?" Me being the smart aleck I am, I was like, "Jesus?" He goes, "No, me." I was like,
Yeah, my kids took it from a different perspective. They were like, they're
like-
like, you're mentioning me?
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
listen to
That's how
this
Andrew is.
sermon.
That's how
Yes.
Andrew is.
I'm gonna listen to this
He's like,
They
"You said my name?"
any press is good press.
Any
That's
prep.
right.
They
That's-
believed it.
They know
Yes.
that.
They
yes.
knew it.
And I should have taken it that way.
Yeah.
Because the people in the churches that I grew up in were very kind to me, but
Yeah.
I was scared of old people for a while,
Mm.
and so
That makes sense. There's a
it
fear.
freaked me
What's do you know what that fear is called?
old people
Fear
phobia.
of old
I
people
don't
is a
know.
phobia.
Yes.
It's a phobia. Listen.
Do you know
Do you
it?
know the name?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. I was hopeful that he was more knowledgeable than I was.
No,
you know?
not on that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably Jerry something.
Mm,
Phobia.
Jerry phobia.
Jerry
I
phobia.
don't think
Jerryphobia?
Jerry phobia though.
Jerry
All the
phobia.
Jerrys out there are like, "Hey, man."
So you were a little afraid of old people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why was that?
I don't know if
And what is that called?
I think it's because when I was really little, I don't know exactly how little, but probably
there's
like
plenty
4 or
of
5.
reasons. Yeah, for a young
We
child.
went to
An old man kidnapped you.
and
took you to Florida.
Uncle Ronnie, no.
Sorry.
Starts doing hand
Okay.
symbols in the camera. You know?
But
We shouldn't laugh.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's not
okay.
funny. I'm sorry to everybody out there who
Oh, yeah, that
maybe
was-
had
Yeah,
a kidnapping.
Exactly. People walking around with wounds right now, and we're like,
you're gonna have to put that like
As a
disclaimer at the
caption.
end with like
Yeah.
a website that you can go to.
I know. Yeah.
Is this
sorry.
podcast appropriate for all audiences unless they've had any trauma?
Right. Any trauma, don't listen.
All right.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
What was I talking about? Old people.
Old
Okay.
people.
Yeah, you were.
You don't have
Yeah.
to really explain to us
That's
why
okay.
you're
There's
afraid.
a specific story in my mind
Okay.
that is my
Does it deal with
theory,
clowns?
at least. It does not. It's not. I was like 4 or 5 at like an assisted living center that like the church was doing like a kids choir concert
That's
or
a tough
something.
environment.
And yeah, there's this very sweet old lady that saw that I was wearing an Old Navy shirt, and she just very
Thank you for
loudly
your
like came up
service.
to me and was like, "My son was in the Navy,"
Oh,
and she was very enthusiastic, and
Mm.
so my little shy like 4 or 5-year-old self
yeah.
that's stuck with me. And
You
I
were
was like,
embarrassed.
What
yeah.
are you talking about? What do you mean your son was in the Navy? What? Because I didn't connect
The
old
thing at
Navy
all.
to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, she saw old and was like, "This is my guy, Navy.
Yes.
That's my boy."
Yes.
Right.
I think what it is for young people. I'm getting older, so like the older I get,
Were you about to say I love old people?
I don't think so.
Okay, you were like, I love, the older
no,
I
no,
get,
I changed the way that I was going to begin the sentence.
Okay, sorry.
Josh.
Yeah.
But no, like I being a pastor, you talk to a lot of elderly people, and I've gotten to a point where that's some of my favorite conversations. But I do remember being like young when everybody's old. When you see a 30-year-old and you're like, that's old.
yeah,
So when you start dealing with somebody who's elderly, like I think it's there's a contact thing that like I don't know. I didn't like anybody touching me. I didn't like people being in my personal space as a kid, and I found that like the older you got, the less you respected those boundaries. And I don't know if that's true or not, but as a child, I could kind of see some of that being a little in your face, but
can we say anything else generalized about old people on
not
the
saying
show?
anything about old
it's like,
people.
You're like they just stop respecting all boundaries. When
I
they're
didn't-
old,
no,
and sometimes
no,
there's
no,
a
I-
smell, and
No.
I mean, it was
Whoa,
just
whoa,
like
no.
anyway.
No.
Sorry.
no, the older I get, the younger everybody else gets. So elderly, you got to be real elderly for me to start calling you old.
What's real elder?
No, I'll say. Look, I've got like over 90s.
Yeah, we do too. We
and,
do
and
too.
like they're still with it and awesome.
Yeah.
So like whatever.
We have one guy who's 110.
Oh.
Bro, I think he's lying.
He may be.
I think he
when
forgot
you're
his
that
real age.
old, I'm like,
just kidding.
you
If you're
know,
listening,
how are
Yeah.
you? How accurate are you about your birth actual year?
I can't even remember how old I am without my wife standing behind me.
43.
Has
I
he had
am,
a Dr.
I am,
Pepper
and I knew that
every day
now.
of his life?
Huh?
Has he had a Dr. Pepper every day of his life?
That's the
Do you
same.
remember that story?
Gosh, yes.
Yeah.
The lady was
Yeah,
like,
it's
the
sugar
lady was
and
like,
it's good for you.
Yes. She's
Yes.
like, the doctors told me not to drink it. I've outlived every one of them.
Yep.
Yes.
You
And she was
know?
about to take like a skydiving trip, and then the end of that like mini documentary, I don't even
They're like,
remember what it was.
In
They're like,
memory of.
yes, she passed away. And it's like, all right.
Is that how that story ends?
Yeah.
I only know her as the little clip.
Yes.
It's
In
got
memory,
sugar.
yeah.
It's good for me.
And it says something
R.I.P.
died of sugar.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
So now that we've disparaged the elderly,
Yes.
properly, gosh,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So.
I shouldn't have analyzed that thought.
So you didn't
any
want your dad to
further.
embarrass you, but okay. So what?
Is that where we were?
Yes, that's how far.
Oof.
I know. Luckily, there was like a page mark in my head.
This
but
one might not.
yeah, ever. We're just gonna let
Yeah,
you
this
know,
is
like
gonna
go
into the
right thus
vault.
far,
You can
it's
send
not.
me off to fame another
That's it
time.
exactly.
Yeah.
So your dad was very much involved in the church.
Mm-hmm.
So that meant, I'm guessing, you were also involved in the church.
Yes.
And
Very
was
much
it
so.
like I have to be, or I actually want to be?
Some of both, but mostly I wanted to be there.
Oh, that's
I
good.
have 2 older siblings.
Okay.
They were less so than wanted to be there throughout their
Years.
Tenure.
growing up. Yeah, their tenure. That's a good word. But I enjoyed it quite a bit. I was a little bit more of a people person, I think, than my older siblings. And so even though I got spooked easily sometimes by either a story being shared about me or
45-year-olds walking around.
Yeah. You know,
the elderly.
the elderly. Yeah.
Listen,
I enjoyed
we're
people.
going to be removed from every Spotify's going to remove us. YouTube's going to flag us.
We'll be all right.
Yeah, we'll
YouTube
be
might
good.
flag us.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't think that Spotify or YouTube likes old people either. in
No,
my
that's
opinion,
true. They may.
Which I like them now, just to set the record straight.
Yeah, so everybody knows
We're good.
he's gone to therapy.
Yes.
He talked about
Yeah.
the clown.
Was it like immersion therapy? Did they did they send you to like
It was Christmas
like a
caroling.
mall in the morning?
No. Oh
So take us further into the story. So
Mm-hmm.
what?
I'm just
Because I went serious?
No, not you. No, I'm
This whole
disappointed with
thing?
myself.
This whole thing, you're just
I'm
disappointed.
just disappointed with
Let's
myself.
restart. Is everybody ready?
I am.
Yeah, no.
The longest bonus episode.
Exactly. So how was it for you in your relationship with God?
Yeah. I wouldn't say, some people say that being a PK like helped the relationship with God. I've heard people say that it inhibited a little bit. I think I had some seasons of both. But I definitely think that I didn't understand the owning your faith as your own thing until probably closer to adulthood.
Yeah.
Because it was very easy, because I enjoyed going to church
Right.
and was super involved all the time. It was very easy to lean on that as
Yeah.
a testimony
Right.
and not actual salvation experience and actual development of relationship with Jesus. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for my parents and for leaders and those churches that mentored me and helped me get to that place. So I'm very fortunate that I do find it fortunate that I was able to grow up in the church and have a worship pastor as a dad. I also think that the music aspect of it helped me to realize sooner just how much I valued music as part of my relationship with Christ, if that makes sense. Just as a way of prayer and obviously worship, but with worship music and that kind of thing, that's like where I find a lot of joy and fulfillment. And I definitely got that from my dad. He was a very good leader, very good worship leader. And so to have that displayed is very valuable. So I really feel like the only like thing that maybe held me back a little bit was just leaning too much on
The faith of your parents.
yes. And
I
kind
think
of the
that's
circumstances
really
that I was in.
an interesting observation, and I think that probably happens a lot where your faith isn't your own for a while. You know, like I mean, my son Andrew prays and we talk about the Lord and all of that, but I don't think Andrew has a faith of his own. I think he's relying on me for his faith at this point. You know, like.
All of mine had their salvation experiences at 4.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really know about.
Well, you did it right.
That's
That's
no.
When you get a second, Josh, can you teach us how to walk on water?
Exactly. That's it. I would be glad to actually just look to
Just
Jesus.
freeze the lake.
Look to Jesus.
Oh, okay.
So no, yeah. I mean, I like talking to you is interesting because we both have children and my kids are a little older than his in 17 and
You have like a 30-year-old at this point.
I know it's almost.
I saw a picture of y'all together, and like, isn't one of your sons taller than you or getting close?
Please don't ever say that out loud. And it's not true. It's
you
false.
were slouching.
This is fake news.
You were slouching? He was in heels?
No, I don't know. But
I don't know. There was
I
one
tried to
picture where I
tell
was
him-
like, is he getting...
No, I'm like, listen, they're always like, you see, I'm getting close, Dad, getting close. And I'm like, it's never going to happen.
Maybe you were stepping further
You
back.
know how they
Maybe it was
say when
forced
you talk to a
perspective.
plant
Yeah.
and you can get the plant to grow?
He stopped talking
Yeah.
to
I
his kids.
talk to
like-
my kids by telling them, don't grow. Don't grow. Because if you
Okay.
do negative reinforcement, it also
yeah.
doesn't
See,
help growth.
Do you give them coffee a lot? Like, do you give them
Yeah.
coffee?
Coffee
when
and
they're-
cigarettes.
That's okay. That's
never too
another
young to
thing.
start.
And I
that
got them
think-
lifting weight at 6, you know?
That's probably another
So-
thing that contributed to my distrust of older folks.
I love that Zach wants to take
buckle
us
up,
back.
folks. Buckle up. Here we go.
I'm not.
Zach's like,
I'm-
one more thing
one
about
more
old
thing.
folks.
Why
Let me
did they
just
get
get
discounts
one more thing in.
everywhere?
No, my sister and I used to go and help make the coffee in the morning,
Yeah.
and there would always be some lady from the hospitality committee
Mm.
Oh,
that would be like, "You're not supposed to have that. It starts your growth."
And that was
Oh.
it.
And I'm like, "Well, let it.
Yeah.
It tastes good."
You had coffee. How young were you when you had coffee?
6,
I was drinking
7,
coffee
maybe.
pretty young.
Really? I mean, the boys,
I mean, there might be something to it. I mean, like, you know.
I've let them have it, but you know, usually if they drink from me, the problem is I drink it black, and
Yeah.
so they're like, "That's really
Yeah.
gross." My daughter calls this dirt water.
Oh,
So
yeah. My dad does not like coffee, but Sundays were probably the main, if not the only day that I would have had coffee as
Coffee.
a kid.
yeah.
But yeah,
So how did you go from? Because
How did you come from hating old people
right?
to having this deep distrust and disdain for people who have lived longer than you?
Right.
Yeah.
To
Right.
being only slightly hateful of old people.
Yeah.
Right. Right. How
only
did you-
bringing it up.
right.
Yeah. Just
You're like,
I've forgiven them, I just need to talk about it
One
more.
last reason I don't like them. You
Kim,
know,
Kim would have something to say about
if
that.
I was just
but-
gonna have one more that I'd like to say about not liking them,
yeah.
no. So my point being and all that is that it's nice to talk to a preacher's kid. Which I always told them, I was like, I tried never if they even mentioned PK, I was like, no, you're not saying that. I don't want you to call yourself a preacher's kid. I want you to identify, like, how many people are like, oh yeah, I'm an oil and gas landman kid,
Right.
you know?
But
or
how many songs are written about oil, land, and gas men kids? I mean, Son of
Well,
a Preacher Man is pretty.
that is pretty
It's a great
well
song.
known. It is a great song.
It's a great song.
But
But
so
then I'm like, not you, son.
But yeah, but I think, and there is a natural, I mean, the scripture says, train them up in the way that they should go. And when they're old,
Yeah.
they will not depart from it, which, like, to me, the key is when they're older.
Ecclesiastes.
I think it's Ecclesiastes. Train a child up in the way that it should go. So like, in that sense, you kind of came to it eventually.
Yeah.
How did that come about? College?
Some
Did you go to
high
college?
school, some college. I went to
Clown school?
TCC, not clown school. Unfortunately,
He went to clown school. Oh, you didn't go to clown school?
No.
Are you
Who am I
embarrassed? of it?
thinking
No,
of?
no. What you were?
Who am I
I
thinking
think
of?
you're remembering. I did tell a story recently where
About
I
going
had
to clown
Did
school?
you
one
go?
Of, one of
you
my
didn't
church
attend,
members
but you
who
went
meant this in
to.
the, huh?
You didn't attend. You just went to.
No, I did. I didn't. I was a clown though. So there is some truth to that.
Steve-O went to clown school.
Oh, okay.
That might be
I
what
did.
I'm
I was in
thinking
a
of. It
clown
was an
ministry
interview.
for St. Timothy for a very little bit.
Whoa.
There was a
heard
clown
that.
ministry. James wasn't a big fan, I don't think.
I can guarantee you he
But
wasn't
we
a
used to
fan.
go to like the retirement homes. You would hate it.
Yeah.
And,
You should never give us. You should never give us ammunition because now we're gonna play that up.
I
So-
could juggle, so that was my thing. I could juggle.
Makes sense.
But even if I
Everything makes sense now.
Everything
some of
makes
them did
sense
believe. My mom was one of them. My mom was the one who wrote me into it.
So where did you go to college?
I went to Tallahassee Community College
Okay.
in Tallahassee,
Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Largely
Was it-
accredited school.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, like, how did the going from leaning on your parents' faith to
Mm-hmm.
really leaning more on your own faith? How did that happen?
I think the first I just consider it my genuine salvation experience was when I was in high school, and I just kind of been in this season of maybe apathy is a good word for it. I didn't feel apathetic at the time, But I can remember a lot of people in like our youth group being like, "Are you okay?" And I'd be like, "Why are you asking me that? I'm fine." What do
Yeah.
you mean?
I don't know if apathy is something someone identifies when they are experiencing it necessarily, because you just don't.
You just don't know. You don't care. You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was a season where I was having like way more arguments with my parents than I had previously. And I remember there was I don't remember what we were arguing about, but I had some dumb argument with my mom and needed to go to my room to cool off for a second and put my headphones in to listen to music. And sometimes this feels weird mentioning because they're not a Christian band anymore, but I was listening to Paramore.
Yeah.
One of their early albums, and they have a song called We Are Broken that talks about being broken. And she kind of asks the question in the song, what do we do to restore the innocence that we had at the beginning? And that was when I feel like it really clicked, the need aspect for a savior. I don't recall ever feeling that need for a savior until that point. I had a lot of head knowledge about the Bible, but not a lot of understanding of why the gospel was important, you know?
Yeah.
And after that point, I felt like scripture became much more alive. It wasn't just knowledge to be absorbed. I felt like I was getting, like learning new things
And
out
being
of
communicated
stories,
with.
yes, that I had read like 100 times before. And then the second part of that is after we moved to Tallahassee. So my parents asked me before we moved, they sat me down and were like, hey, we have this opportunity. It's a very small chance that we would do this, but if we were to have the opportunity to move to Florida, would you be okay with that? And I was like, heck yeah. If the Lord's calling us, we should go. But then when it actually became a reality, I was like, hold on.
Got to leave everything.
All of my friends are here. And
how
like,
old were you at that time?
I was, I think probably 15 when they told me, and then 16 or 17 when we moved.
Okay.
And for the first like 2-3 years living in Tallahassee, I fought really hard against planting any sort of roots there, because I was convinced that I just needed to go back to Elizabethtown, back to Kentucky, where my friends were and where my life was and that kind of thing. And so I fought very hard to not invest in where I was. And I think through some mentors, like the interim student pastor that was there at the time was very, played a very important part in this, but I felt like the Lord really taught me what it looked like to lay down roots where you are, regardless of if you feel like you should be there or not.
Yeah, grow where you're planted.
Yeah. And in that season and that process is where I feel like I started having a fuller understanding of what it meant to make my faith your own, make my faith my own, and actually use that verbiage to describe it at that point. But I still definitely feel like I'm learning about that.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
why we brought you on, really, was because we wanted to talk
We had
about
a
some
Talk to us
things.
about this. You
Deep
knew?
knowledge. We had a sense.
We had a
Okay.
sense.
We had a sense, and we're like, you know what? We're gonna pretend like we don't have a
Okay,
guest.
you got some of that
Don't have
discernment.
it, but we've
Some of that
heard you
discernment.
talk
Yeah.
before, and we're
Yeah.
like, we just really need
This
to
guy's
take.
gonna crush it. We really
Yeah.
need to just create a way that it would like organically, it would look like an accident.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we'd be able to tell you all the
Yeah.
things you need to know,
Yeah.
Mm.
which, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a
So if
lot.
we should get started, or
Maybe we should start.
So you're gonna fix me? That's what
yeah,
you're
we're
saying?
gonna. That's what
Okay.
we're saying.
That's what we do
All
here.
right. So how did you end up here? You're in Tallahassee.
I'm in Tallahassee.
Your parents leave.
My parents leave.
Okay.
Um,
You pull up your roots.
pull up my roots. I was working at an after school as the interim assistant director at a church in Tallahassee, and enjoyed that. But that was coming to an end because they wanted someone to be there that was going to actually attend the church, and I was attending a different church. Liked the church that I worked at, liked the church that I was attending. Didn't want to move from the
Churches.
church that I was attending.
Right.
And so when I signed on to be the assistant director, I always knew that eventually they would want to bring someone in that was going to attend the church. And so they did that. And then my lease at the apartment I was staying at was about to be up. And my sister, brother-in-law, niece and nephew live here. And my sister has been trying to convince me to move here for years. And
For the
to be
weather.
totally, yes, because the weather. I traded swamp for swamp.
Yeah.
So different.
Yeah.
Yes.
So different from Florida.
It's like this much closer to the equator.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and I honestly had like, aside from like, I wanted to spend time with my sister and brother-in-law, niece and nephew, obviously, but I didn't really have any other desire to live here.
Mm.
And then I started to kind of get this pull to come here, and
That's the first time you heard us, and you were like,
Yeah, I
"It's
was like,
confirmed.
that's the one.
That's it. I knew it.
Yes.
I knew there was a reason why it was pulling me,
That's it.
Yes.
and now I've heard it.
That's it.
It's
Yes.
let the Bible
The
speak.
call of the
Yes.
wild.
And I
really.
said, Rob, have you heard of this podcast?
Yeah.
Yes,
you-
100%.
Could you get me on it?
And that's
So
why.
I drove all the
Yeah.
way from Tallahassee.
This was actually my first day. And so
Those are my bags.
they're my bags over here. These are mine.
Yes.
But I was like, okay, but I felt like I was getting into a really good spot just in my community in Tallahassee there. And so I was like, I don't really want to leave that though. And so I was kind of freaking out, spinning out there for a second, and was talking to a friend. And she was just like, so you're making this decision like you're going to live there for all eternity. And like,
Right.
Mhm.
you're not going to. Maybe you'll live there and settle down for a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll go for a year or two, and we'll just be thankful that you took a leap.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what, you're right. So took that leap, moved here, and living with my sister and brother-in-law right now. And Rob connected me with Gerardo.
Hmm.
And now I'm here to become famous.
That's it.
Well,
Yeah.
I've been
Okay.
told.
Now
Good.
you've arrived.
Good. Well,
So-
listen. This is the first step.
That's it.
Yes.
Big step. I mean, this listening audience.
Yes.
That's it.
You can find me on Instagram.
There you go. Yeah, where is
I don't
your-
really post anything, but if I
Yeah.
did, it would be really funny.
I bet it would be.
And,
I
yeah.
bet it would be. It'd probably be some sort of mocking thing about old people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been better. You could get me on Instagram. It's I hate old people.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's actually a movement if you'd like to donate.
So what do you think about the area, Mandeville, and
I love Mandeville and Covington area. New Orleans has had to grow on me a little bit,
Yeah.
but it has actually started to grow on me. I was convinced that it was not going to. But I had some friends visit a few weeks ago, and we went and I showed them the city. They kept being like, why don't you know about this?
you're like,
you live here.
this right here.
This is a street.
Yes, this is, and it has a sign.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%.
And so they were like, why don't you know this? You're local. And I was like, well, I'm just moved here.
Yeah, in your
Yeah.
me alone.
How long ago did you move here?
3 months.
Oh
3 or 4 months.
Oh, you're a Mandeville baby.
I'm
That's
a baby.
it.
Covington.
Yeah, that's always the fun one when you have people come in from out of town. They're like, "Show me New Orleans." You're like, okay.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
The New Orleans, I'll say, because New Orleans gets a lot of attention nationally and internationally, but usually for the wrong reasons. You
Yeah.
know, like it's like we're famous for our sins, but the reality is New Orleans can be a pretty cool place during the
Yes.
day.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
during the day when it's not just like people throwing up on the street and all of that stuff, and you know it can be a pretty cool. There's a lot of culture.
Well,
there.
first of all, we have the best food in
It's
the
excellent
world.
food.
You know what I mean? Like
Excellent food.
just
What was
a-
it? Who said that there only there's only 3 cities? It was what did he say? New York. Oh gosh, I'm gonna mess it up now.
Go ahead,
I
no,
want to say
keep
it's
going.
like
I just love to hear it.
It's not Los Angeles.
really
It's
would.
not. But
It's in San Francisco.
it actually might be. Maybe he said that. But it was like New York. So we'll go with San Francisco.
Yeah.
New York, San Francisco, and New Orleans. Everywhere else is Cleveland. And I thought that
Oh,
was-
I've heard that too.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
trying to remember what-
Tennessee Williams, right?
Oh, okay.
something like that.
Yeah.
I might have just made that up. No, it wasn't.
Was he a country singer?
It wasn't Tennessee. Well done. It was not Tennessee Williams. It was oh gosh. It's the writer that Hemingway.
Oh, Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah, I almost described how he left.
Yeah,
the
let's
world.
not.
I
Let's
almost
not.
did, and then I
I
was
know
like,
we've
that's
literally
not
already moved
that's it.
into
Yeah.
so we
We'll
can't.
really get banned by YouTube.
We really will.
Yeah.
Ernest Hemingway is my favorite country singer. So
Oh, there you go. Me too. Me too.
This is amazing. This is amazing. It's like you've been on the show the whole time. This is great.
Yes. We did recognize that the first time you were recording us, we were making you laugh hysterically, and we really appreciated
Yeah,
that.
of
It
course.
encouraged us. You
It
know, we know
encouraged
you were
me.
doing
Yeah.
it fakely.
No, he was
But-
laughing at like, how?
It's like, why am I
I'm an
here?
educated man.
I cannot
I'm a believer
believe.
in Jesus, and this
How
is
did
where
I
you
get
sent me,
here?
Lord.
And so like now I know that you're also participating with your brother's doing a church plant, right? Your brother-in-law.
Yes.
And
Yep.
so you're participating with starting that up.
Yeah, I've been helping them with social media a little bit, and my sister and I kind of are helping lead worship at the moment.
Is your sister
That's what
also
I
a
do.
musician like your
Mhm.
dad?
Yeah,
So do you play an instrument?
I play piano.
Okay.
I'm one of those people that my parents gave me piano lessons, and they're like, you need to practice, because this is my mom speaking. I took, and then I stopped practicing, and I wish that I hadn't. And I've heard so many adults say that. So my goal was to not become one of those adults.
Yeah.
But I am that
You're
now,
one
where
of
I
those.
stopped
No,
practicing.
that is, yeah,
and
right.
it hurts me every day.
Hmm.
But
I get that.
I do technically play piano, though.
And your sister, she plays?
She plays guitar and sings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She hasn't played guitar in a while, but she plays guitar well.
Is she good? She okay? You
She's
know,
pretty
as
good.
far as
Are you
she's
recruiting?
She's better
people?
than she thinks that
I'm
she
just
is.
no, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just saying when this all doesn't work out.
Yeah.
You know. No, I'm just kidding. So what do you so you're leading worship
Mhm.
and you know, it's I'll talk to when Rob comes on with Jason
Yeah.
in the next few weeks. I think it's sometime in February. Anyway.
Sure.
But
Probably be here.
they're going to talk about the gospel
Network.
Oh, the North
network.
Shore Gospel.
North
Network.
Shore. Thank you. You know it better than I,
know,
do.
Yeah.
North Shore Gospel Network, which is pretty cool. But I am curious because you looking at starting. I'm always curious. Like, what does it look like? Like for y'all
Yeah.
starting this church? Because I don't know anything about church planning or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Well, I came into it maybe a few months after they had first started. So I didn't get to see like
The
the
very
initial
beginning.
start, but it's been very cool and interesting. I feel like a lot of our congregation is built of people that have been away from church for
That's
a
great.
while. And so that's been very interesting and
How'd you
encouraging
get them?
to see.
How'd you reach them? Like, because that's my question
Oh,
about
wait,
a
I do
church.
know.
A church
Sorry.
plant, especially like, do you have? Forgive me that I don't know, but so obviously, if you've got a congregation, y'all are you out of a different church? Are you borrowing space?
Okay.
How's that work?
Great question. So we are currently meeting in a community theater in Old Mandeville.
Okay, hold that
Yes.
thought. All right, so you're not you have no steeple, no
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
So how do you get the word out that you're a church there?
Yeah. So my brother-in-law, he has a background in marketing, and so he has been like from the start, or even before they started, getting ads out there. Like I can remember one time I just visited, and they were making videos, kind of addressing skeptics, I think. And so he's just made a few videos like that, just to be like, hey, even if you're skeptical, don't believe, but you're just kind of curious or you have questions, come
That's awesome.
check us out. And they had, I know, I don't remember what they called it, but some kind of like preview service and some interest meetings and that kind of thing. And then Rob also, who is an introvert. And so I think it's very impressive how outgoing he comes across.
I wouldn't have thought of him
Yeah.
as an introvert. Okay.
He is just very good about, like, if he's been, like, again, times that visited them long before they even knew which building that they were going to meet in, he would catch people, and they had recently moved to the old Mandeville neighborhood, and so he would catch people, neighbors, as he would just be like going for a walk, that would be like, oh, are you new to the neighborhood? And then he'd strike up a conversation and let them know about this church plant that brought them there. And so if they were interested, wanted help
amazing.
from a church, something like that. So, and then prayer is a big component of that too. It's just praying and having faith that not necessarily that God's going to like fill the building every single time. He may and he may not, but
Right.
just having faith that he will use the church as an instrument to further his kingdom.
Well,
That's been cool.
I mean, I've preached in front of large numbers like you do regularly. But I've also preached in front of 6 people, you know, and like 5 of them are related. you know? Like that's it's amazing. You know, and but I mean, God's there. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Well, and that's, you know, I was just having this conversation this week, and I think it's true for anybody who's like thinking about following Jesus, or even like putting that into practice is what I mean really by following Jesus, like living out your faith with Jesus.
Yeah, taking the steps and following.
Yes, like actually, following him. But like people will think about that, and I'll tell them, like, what I've learned over the years is that the kingdom of God is really much like a garden.
Yeah.
And the best thing that you can do, like there was a man, an Asian man. They were interviewing him because he has the most beautiful garden in the whole world. I think I've already told you all this. Did I tell you this? I don't know. Anyway, but if I have,
I definitely stopped listening.
Yeah, everybody else wasn't listening either. But he made this unbelievable looking garden, and they were like, how did you do it? You know, and he was like, every day I cared for it. And that was it. Yeah. That was his answer. And so like what I found that to be true in our walk with Jesus, because people will often go, you know, like, how do I serve God? How do I serve him? You know? And I'll go, listen, you start with what he wants you to do, and then you care for it. And then that's it. Like it's not super complicated. And what happens is what we come to realize, and here's how I see it. If anybody's ever started a garden, you understand this really, really well. When you start a garden, you're excited about the possibility of what's going to come, but then you have certain days where there's absolutely no growth, and you're wondering, are the seeds working? Is there any possibility that the things are actually going to grow?
Right.
Am I wasting my time? Do I have a brown thumb? Yeah, I'm just not going to be able to help anybody to grow. And then all of a sudden, one day you see a little bit of growth, and you're like, man, okay, this is working. Yeah. Okay. And then you get to a place where not only do you see the little bit of growth, but then you see something bear fruit and provide from the growth that you have been working towards for the whole time. And what I found, and I've been in ministry for close to 13 years now. And what I have found is when I started, that's exactly what it was like for me. People are coming by the ones, and you're like, and I don't know how many people are going to be. If the right family, I remember when I would preach at Shift.
I was going to bring up the chairs. That's
what
something I love that you used to do, where you would just put out the chairs in faith.
Yeah. Well, it always, there was a bother. People would always come up to me and they'd say something like, it's there's Saints are playing. Nobody's coming today. Nobody's coming today. Yeah. And I would be like, okay, I'm not going to listen to that. In fact, I'm not only not going to listen to that, I'm going to add chairs. And so I would add chairs because I had the anticipation that God would answer the prayers that were being prayed to him, that people would come. And when you start out like that, you wonder, where is the growth?
Yeah.
Like when is something going to happen? Is anybody ever going to come to believe in Jesus under my ministry? Like I had those thoughts, because if they don't, Jesus gave me a word, which is you'll know them by their fruits.
Yeah, look.
And
That's-
and it's a scary scripture.
Yeah.
And so you're just waiting to see, like, but then you see a little growth and you go, okay, something's happening.
There's something also really neat when you say, I'm going to make up something that nobody's ever said before, but when you see the grand fruit, like when you see like somebody that you've kind of helped and then they're discipling someone else and they're getting fruit, and then that
Yes.
person's ministry is getting fruit, and it's like there's just something really amazing to watch about that, like just the spreading of the gospel and knowing that like this foolish, like completely inept creature was able to be a part of something so awesome. And like there's just something amazing about seeing your fruit produce other fruit, or God's fruit produce other fruit.
Yeah.
Well, that's so like I just had this conversation this week with people, because I felt like I was in that cultivating for a long time. And there would be little growth, but I was like, I'd like to see more fruit, Lord, I'd like to see more, and because we always want the fruit bearing. The fruit bearing is the best day, right? When you do a harvest, it's the best day. You get out to go, and everybody gets the food that you've been growing all year.
Yeah.
But the problem is all year you haven't lived in the fruit bearing time.
No.
All year you've been working towards it.
Yeah.
And so like I got to a place where I always felt like where we are, where you are currently, where everybody is a little bit of hard ground. It's not easy to work. What the gospel doesn't plant easily here, I think in part because we're inoculated to it. Somebody says Jesus.
You're like, I know everything there is to know about Jesus.
I've already
you know
tried
he was
this.
married to Mary Magdalene?
Yeah, exactly.
You're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I've read Dan Brown. I know all.
Yeah, and so I consider this really hard ground. Which, when you have hard ground, if you want to produce a garden, you have a lot of breaking up of the soil. You got to turn it over and over and over again. But here's what happens to people like me, which is that I'm used to breaking that hard ground, and then eventually I start to see real fruit, and I'm like, I don't even know what to do, Lord, because like this fruit is so unnatural to me. Like I'm used to like working the ground and trying on it. And then like this guy came up to I did a call at the end of a service, and this guy came up to me. And this is like, when I'm looking for fruit, this is what the fruit I'm looking for. This guy came up and he said, I was talking about the new life, that you cannot see the kingdom of God unless you're born again. And so, and I asked people to come up if they, wanted the new birth. And so this guy comes up and he tells me, he says, everything that you just preached happened to me on Friday about being born again. And he said, Jesus has taken away my sins. And he said, and he has been coming to the church for a good while. And he says, and I've waited to tell you. I could not wait to tell you. I'm like just grinning ear to ear, and I'm like praying for him, and I'm like, praise God. Like, and it was the genuine article. I knew it immediately when he spoke to me, that that was exactly what had happened. He had his life transformed. Yeah. Suddenly you have that. That's like having the best day of your life. You know what I mean? Because it's just, there are times people are like, I think I want to follow Jesus. And you're like, okay, I got you. Like, you got to work that. But at the same time, there are other days where somebody's like, I once just depended upon my parents' faith, and now I've taken it upon my own faith. Yeah. I trust Jesus myself. I love Jesus myself. He's the one that I want to follow. And like, so I say that to you. I said all that to you because what you're involved in right now, whether or not it's Rob or you, is working the garden. And so the call for you is not to be amazing or to be like something you're not.
Wait, did you just say he's not amazing?
That's
The
what
way
I'm saying.
the way that you structured that was hilarious. I know that's not what you meant.
That's
That was-
exactly what I meant.
you
No,
know,
I mean he's already
don't be
admitted to
something-
hating old people. You know what I mean?
right,
How
right.
could it get worse?
right.
No, but I mean,
You don't have to worry about being amazing. You know,
Yeah.
something you're not.
yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
or
Like,
interesting,
whoa.
or
I just felt the pressure.
it all left me. It all left me. But no, but like,
yeah.
I
you
think
just
it's,
have to be obedient.
you just have to be obedient. You just have to show up, and whatever the Lord puts in your hands, just be faithful to that. Here's what God always does: is if you're faithful to a little, He will give you more. But if you're unfaithful to a little, you can expect to stop there.
Yeah.
And
Well, then somebody else steps in and starts giving you more, and you just work for the wrong guy.
exactly, 100%. And like God said it, He said, what do we want to hear when we die? We want to hear, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a few things.
Yep.
I will now put you in charge of many things. Come share in your master's happiness." So we know that God takes our few things and He gives us more things when we're faithful. When we're faithful. So just be faithful. That's it. I just wanted to tell you that. I've been waiting to tell you that for let's see, I don't know how long.
Yeah.
But now you know.
Thank
Now
you.
you know. I fixed it.
Yeah. you
Didn't I
fixed
fix
me.
it?
Problem
To
solved.
throw it back to the first podcast of y'all's that I was sitting
Listening
over
to,
there for.
yeah.
That's good.
Very good. Very good. And we're pros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're real pros.
Yeah. I hear that. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Somebody thought I
That's
was making
awesome.
fun of Henderson when I did that. I was like, no, sir. Like Henderson.
Oh, Henderson with the
Yeah, Henderson's is all natural.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah,
That's him.
Henderson's is like that's 100% pure.
That's conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, or the come on.
Come on.
That's another one. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
So wait, you said it was I know we're going to be, I guess,
Wrapping up.
but you said that are you Baptist? Is that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so when were you baptized?
I was baptized. So first, I have one of those
caveats.
testaments.
It's caveat answer.
When I was like 5, I walked to get baptized. I think a lot of people, when they have I had a salvation experience as a kid, and then later on, they'll call it like a recommitting.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there was any like real belief when I was little.
Sure.
I think I just did it because it's what people
Everybody
were
was doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I understand. That.
Baptism was actually something that I struggled with a lot after.
This is why
in
I
high
asked. I had a
school,
sense
yeah.
of it. I
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
sensed
Yeah.
it deeply.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, I got, I feel like I really understood the gospel better and actually came to Jesus. But now, do I need to get baptized again? And I know from talking with my parents and reading scripture that it's like, okay, I don't think I'm going to go to hell if I don't, but also it's obedience, and I want to be I don't want to be ashamed
Right.
of my decision.
Right.
And so but it was many years later, not until we moved to Tallahassee, that I was like, I feel like I need to get baptized again. And this opportunity presented itself, where we went on a trip to Israel with Uncle Ronnie, as I mentioned before.
Mhm.
He took a group of people to Israel and offered, he said, we're going to spend some time in the Jordan River, and if anyone would like to get baptized.
You got baptized in the
Can.
Jordan
I
River?
did.
What he's trying to say
I
is
did.
he's like, my baptism is better
Better
than
than
all of
yours.
y'all's.
Wow.
So I took that as my opportunity to
Wow.
publicly.
I'm
get
so glad I
baptized.
asked that question. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
No, you know,
That's
I have dealt with that in the past because I became a Christian and I had been baptized before. I've been baptized as a baby, and so when I became a Christian, I went to a denomination which is our Methodist, which don't believe in rebaptizing, you know, but for me, like when I went to that church, I said, listen, I wasn't a believer before, you know, I didn't have the Holy Spirit, honestly. And I was like, I'd like to make a public proclamation of my faith.
Yeah.
So they had this thing called Remember Your Baptism, and it was nice. It was nice, but I was like, in truth, that's not what, because they sprinkled my head while my baby, my child Joseph, was baptized, my first son, and so, but I remember there was a moment just probably a year ago. So we offer baptism to people, and we don't really ask a ton of questions besides like, the questions.
Yes.
Do you trust in the Lord and Savior and pledge your allegiance to His kingdom? You know, it's tough questions, but I think in the end, like when we've asked people before, we said, "Have you been baptized before?" And they'll say yes, and they'll say, "But this is the first time that I'm publicly proclaiming my faith in Jesus." And so, like for me, I never want to stop that. I just I don't think that God wants that to be stopped.
Yeah.
And you know, and so whatever person's theology is or anything like that, I respect like the whole theological idea.
The believer baptism makes sense to me.
Makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. It also makes sense the covenant of a child within like the
100%.
community of faith
Yeah.
for circumcision or, you know, like that kind of connection and all that sort of stuff that came, you know, that all makes sense to me. And in the end, only thing that really matters is we have an understanding that the waters never saved us anyway. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't the waters that saved us. It was Jesus. And it was, you know, we had a guy who came to our church who, he's like, I see y'all baptize babies, you know? And he's like, how do you
get them to
that?
confess
How do you
their faith?
justify that? You know, and so I would tell him the scriptural reasons and all this sort of stuff that we have, whole households.
You go to the whole household, yeah.
Whole households being baptized, talk about circumcision, all that kind of stuff, which I think is it's
I like that you've now said circumcision twice in the last like.
Well, when you were a Jewish boy
I know
at
what
6 years old,
I know.
you joined into the family of God. So, but he said, all right. He said, I just want to know, do you think the water save him? I said, absolutely not. Jesus Christ saves him. Then I'm good. You know, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. And he's right. It's like where the rubber hits the road.
100% he's right.
Yeah. And so I get what you're saying because just recently I asked, we were finishing baptizing everybody, and we have a baptism Sunday, and at the very end I go, Cameron, would you like to baptize me? And he goes, you? And I was like, I never got to have an immersive baptism, and I wanted to, and when I always felt like when I went into that church and that person told me that they didn't allow my full expression of my public what had changed in my life to be declared, and so he did, and
I don't think I can be in. I can't.
that you're like that's it, that's the limit.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm jealous. You brought out jealousy in me because that is something I've wanted to do. I've wanted a full immersion baptism, you know, because I made my life so dirty.
Yeah.
And I know that it's not the water.
No, it's the beautiful
know.
symbolism of dying to dying with Christ, being raised.
You know, in the theater of my imagination, as I think of John the Baptist and just such a wild figure he was, like I have to believe that his baptisms were not.
No,
I think he was like waterboarding people and like, you know, like come up into your new life because you thought you were about to die. Like, I'm telling you,
there's a lady who does baptism. That's her whole ministry. She goes around our country. She offers baptisms. Thousands of people come to be baptized wherever she goes to offer baptisms.
Amazing.
And when she does it, I think it's the way, like it's like when you see somebody do it right for the first time, you know what I mean? Where you're like, I've been doing this wrong my whole ministry, but like she takes time, then lifts up her hand to the Lord
Mm-hmm.
asking for the Spirit, and just like it's this beautiful moment where she's asking God and places her hand on the person, and it's just like this power. And I'm like, why didn't I do that? I should have done that always,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a powerful thing to see it done respectfully
Yes.
and honestly. So well,
Amazing.
yeah, amazing. Well, we're glad you were on.
Yeah.
Everybody
Thank you for having
who
me on.
disagrees with us on baptism,
Yeah.
it's so funny because people always
Well, I
ask
think
us.
they're gonna be. It's gonna be hard to pin us down now because we've gone all over the
We
place.
got all over the
with
place.
baptism,
That's
so,
it. But
you know.
but no, I mean, like people always ask, what's the difference in denominations? And we'll always say, usually it's two beliefs: the belief on communion and the belief on baptism. And that's basically mostly it. Besides, like Calvinism, Arminianism, something like that. But
Means of grace.
means of grace. But yeah, but there's means of grace in all of them.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't have said that. I should have said what sacraments.
What is a sacrament? Yeah. And so, but we're glad you're on.
Yeah. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me on.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that now I'm being propelled on to
Greater
success and
things.
fame.
That's it.
But
yeah. Well,
You
It's
never know.
just-
I could be propelling you on to success and fame.
Or destruction after this podcast.
Yeah.
We talked
Yeah,
about that
yeah.
possibility. It could be the
Yeah.
last podcast.
This might be
It
it.
So,
could be.
we'll never know. Well, we have guests on next week too. So, anyway,
Anyway,
Anyway.
would you like to pray us out?
I can pray us out.
Yeah.
All right, Zach. Look at him. He says he's embarrassed. You weren't embarrassed to say yes there. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
God, thank you for this day. Thank you for just the community of people that you've allowed us to be a part of here and just in the church at large. Just for myself, Lord, I am finding myself so thankful for the people that you have placed in my life in this move here. And so I thank you for these guys and what they've meant to many people through this podcast and their leadership. I pray that you would guide us as we go from here and to be the church. And I don't know, I just am finding myself so thankful, Lord. I pray that as we go from here, Lord, that we would let the Bible speak. And I pray that this episode would somehow speak to somebody, not because of anything that we have done, but because of what you have done
Yes.
in our lives, Lord. And thank you. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you for listening to Let the Bible Speak. If you'd like to support us, subscribe to the podcast by clicking that little plus symbol on your phone until it becomes a check mark. You can also share these episodes with a friend. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at letthebiblespeakpodcast@gmail.com. If you write us at letthebiblespeak@gmail.com, we will not receive your email, so make sure it is letthebiblespeakpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks.